Hey everyone, welcome to another video, and in this one we're going to talk about my final team for the Ziz Crusade boss and trying to maximize as much damage as possible. Now this boss wasn't very fun to do because it was very limiting how much damage you can actually do with Bolina, at least that I found. Um, Even though on a normal boss it would do quite a lot of damage, but this boss has so much HP that even though she can do 2 mil damage, which would normally one shot the the old bosses that we used to have, it does it barely dents this one, or it does do decent damage, but it's not anywhere near as high as you would expect. Normally I would expect Bolina to nearly one hit a boss, and then that's when you go for the overkill damage, right? But this boss doesn't really take that much damage, and it's sort of compounded during the fight because the boss will also weaken your support types, right, with this ability. And then, so even though on the first hit you'll see like 2 mil, a bit over 2 mil damage, on a subsequent attacks it will do something like 1.5 mil, which is a pretty significant downgrade, and it means it takes a lot more time to actually get to the end, of course. And because I'm running only one damage unit, I don't have much wiggle room to try to push the damage due to the boss, basically requiring a anti-resistance unit, right? Because the boss has I'm pretty sure it's like max resistance or close to, and therefore the only good options are Bolina and Rodnia for anti-resistance. You could use Skadi, but I don't think Skadi does that much damage, and therefore not really worth using as a sub DPS. And therefore, I think if you're trying to push really hard, you probably want both Rodnia and Bolina, because I think it's better to replace one of these supports with a Rodnia. But I don't have skill ups in Rodnia. I don't really want to invest the skill ups into her, and therefore I left it as a single DPS fight. But yeah, let's go over the units and turn order. So first off, we have Nay. Alright, and she will target herself, so that will splash onto Bolina. Then we have Swimsuit Dorothy, which is the new support unit, and she has like a diagonal targeting. And the unit behind this bush that you can't really see is a Fleur. So then Fleur will buff Zhao Wu here. Zhao Wu will then buff Aevati, and this is still hitting Bolina. Aevati will then target Franca, and then Franca doesn't actually heal Bolina in this scenario. I couldn't really find a positioning where I could target Bolina with everything while also having my tank in the middle, because I need Bolina to be in the middle because both Fleur and Dorothy have diagonal targeting, right? And therefore you need Bolina in the middle to be able to be splashed by those two units, right? And yeah, Aevati has to be targeting this lane as well, and I need my tank in the second position. And yeah, I tried changing things around, but it just didn't seem to work for me, so I left it like this, and it still works. But I don't know if it might do better if I could manage to get Franca to target Bolina somehow. But yeah, that's the way it is. And then we got Maybelle, of course, to do her buff on Bolina. And lastly, we have Illya to do her overcap crit damage. And she's also the tank for this fight. She actually lasts quite a long time, surprisingly. Most of the damage is fixed damage, so it doesn't really matter that she doesn't have that much HP. But I do want her to die eventually, right? What will end up happening eventually is the boss will do its EX ability, which is a 90% fixed damage, right? I think. Where is it? Yes, this one. So 90% max HP as fixed damage. This will mean that Aevati will trigger her EX during the fight. Unfortunately, just due to the timing of it, the boss will reach around 3 mil. Something like that, and that's when Aevati will trigger her EX. Unfortunately, it still takes a couple more hits after that to be able to finish off the boss. but at least it does help push the boss closer to the end and allow Bolina to take only one more extra turn to finish off the boss. Yeah, so unfortunately this doesn't contribute to the overkill, but it does get her get it closer to the end before overkilling. And then eventually Illya will die, and also Franca will die, because Franca at that point will be at 10% health after the EX, and the boss will attack her and apply the dot, and then she'll die, right? And that's fine because her buff wasn't really being used on Bolina anyway, but having both Franca and Illya dead will then trigger Zhao Wu's EX and also Nei's EX. I'm not sure if Nei gets a turn after Franca dies, or whether Franca dies after Nei moves. I can't remember exactly, but I sort of need Nei to be number 1 anyway because she has the longest duration on her buff. And yeah, so I want to play it, and we'll talk over what's happening and just a few other things to take note of. Now, as I mentioned, you don't have to have a natural taunt unit, because as long as you know how the boss targets, you can sort of plan around that targeting, right? And I always know that Ziz will target second row and then do that cross-shaped, right? Therefore, as long as there's no one in that cross-shaped pattern, they won't get hit, and that will allow, or it means that no one will die from it, right? And of course, Illya does slowly take damage from the dots, but the Franca does heal it up and keep her alive long enough to reach closer to the end before she dies. She should die after the EX, because she'll be too low and then the dot will tick over. But until then, this can tank until the EX ability happens, which is good. This means that I don't have to specifically use a slot on a tank, and Illya at least has a bit of utility. She gives overcap crit damage. You see here, everyone's below, they've taken the EX ability, right? And now Aevati will do her, or she should have already done her buff. And then there'll be another turn for it to chip it down again. Okay, so Illya's dead now, and now the boss will attack Franca, because she's this next person in line. And then over the course of the turns, the dot will keep ticking down, and then she'll eventually just die to that, right? So it looks like Nei's one won't trigger, because she died after Nei's turn, but that's okay. And now Bolina will finish it off. And that's with Aevati's EX ability. So this is the final score, and ×3 will give you the score that I currently have on the rankings. I couldn't get any higher than this. You can see it was already... there's room for more damage, but that would probably require me to use a Rodnia. So yeah, I don't really want to invest the books into a Rodnia just for this boss. I just don't think it's worth it, and therefore I left it alone. But yeah, that is the highest score I got for this one. Yeah, I didn't spend that much time on this because I couldn't really think of anything else to really change the score. I did try using things like Valentine's Skadi and Lifer to reduce stats, but unfortunately the boss is immune to those abilities. It wasn't immune to Shushu's ability, funnily enough, but the boss has no armor anyway, so Shushu doesn't do anything. And yeah, there's no other way to reduce the mobility of the boss, and therefore you're always going to have that 35% damage reduction on the boss, right? Yeah, so those are all the points I wanted to mention about this boss. And yeah, hopefully we'll get another boss not too far away, because I think it took a little bit longer this time to get Crusade Raid boss compared to last time. The last one was around the collab time, and that collab is quite a while ago now. So it's a bit of a longer gap than usual. Alright, anyway, so that's it for this fight. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.